Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. I begin in the name of Allah, the All-Beneficent, the All-Merciful. Nafsul Mehmoom, a heart-rending tragedy of Karbala, by Sheikh Abbas Qummi. Chapter 16. Imam Hussain, peace be upon him's intention of proceeding towards Iraq from Makkah. As mentioned in Irshad, Muslim ibn Aqil, peace be upon him's uprising in Kufa occurred on the 8th of the month of Zilhajj, 60 years after Hijrah, while he was martyred on the day of Arafah, that is the 9th of Zilhajj. Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, left for Iraq on the day of Tarwiyah, that is 8th of Zilhajj, the day of Muslims' uprising. When Imam was in Makkah, a group of the people of Hejaz and Basra joined him, his family, and a clientele. When Imam intended going towards Iraq, he circumambulated the Kaaba and walked the Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Then he removed the pilgrim's garb, that is the Ihram, and declared it to be a lesser pilgrimage, that is the Umrah. He could not halt to complete the major pilgrimage, that is Hajj, for he feared lest he might be arrested in Makkah and taken as captive to Yazid. As mentioned in Malhuf, it is related that on the day of Tarwiyah, that is the 8th of Zilhajj, Umro bin Sa'id bin As entered Makkah with a huge army. Yazid had ordered him that if he confronted Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, he should attack him and if possible to kill him. Thus Imam left Makkah on the same day. Ibn Abbas relates that I saw Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, standing near the door of the Kaaba with Jibra'il's hand in his before he left for Iraq. Jibra'il was calling out, "Hasten to offer allegiance to the proof of Allah, the Mighty, the Glorified." As mentioned in Malhuf, furthermore it is related that when Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, intended going towards Iraq, he stood up and delivered the following sermon. Praise be to Allah, by Allah's will only. There is no power but with Allah, and blessings of Allah be upon His Messenger. Verily, death is bound with the sons of Adam as a necklace around the neck of a maiden. How I desire and long to meet my ancestors similar to Prophet Yaqub, peace be upon him, who was desirous of meeting Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. Verily, I proceed towards the place of my martyrdom which has been selected for me. It is as if I see the wolves of the desert of Banu Umayyah separating each part of my body between Nawawis and Karbala and filling their empty bellies and utricles. There is no escape from that which has been written down by the pen of destiny, and the pleasure of a household, that is the Ahlul Bayt, lies in the pleasure of Allah. Verily, we will endure his trials and secure the reward due for the forbearing ones. The cord of the Prophet and his child cannot be separated from him, but will all be united together with him near the right, that is Allah. Thereby his, that is the Prophet's, eyes will be cooled due to us, and thus Allah will fulfill what He has promised through them. Then whoever desires to lay down his life for us and strive in the way of Allah should come out with us, for I shall be leaving tomorrow morning, Allah willing. Our master, the traditionalist Mirza Noori, in his book Nafsur Rahman says that Nawawis is a graveyard of the Christians, where presently the grave of Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi stands in the northwestern side of the town. As regards Karbala, it is a piece of land on the bank of a stream which flows from the western direction towards the city and passing beside the grave of Ibn Hamza. There are some gardens and fields in it, while the town is in between them. As mentioned in Malhuf, it is related that on the night of the day in which Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, left Makkah, Muhammad bin Hanafiya came to his presence and said, "O dear brother, you are very well aware as to who these people of Kufa are. They committed treachery with your father Imam Ali and brother Imam Hassan. and I fear that they might do the same with you. If you deem fit, do stay here, for you are the most respected and safe herein. Imam replied, O brother, I fear lest Yazid bin Muawiyah assault me unawares in the sacred sanctuary, that is the Haram itself, and thus the sanctity of the sacred sanctuary and the house of Allah would be spoiled due to me. Ibn Hanafiya said, Then go to Yemen if you fear this, or go away into the corner of the desert where you would be safe and no one would be able to lay their hands on you. Imam replied that he would think over the proposal. When it dawned, Imam prepared to go, and the news reached Muhammad bin Hanafiya. He came and caught hold of the reins of his camel, on which the Imam was mounted, and said, O my brother, had you not promised me that you would consider my desire, then why do you have such haste in leaving? Imam replied, After you left, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his pure progeny came to me and said, O Hussein, hasten towards Iraq, for Allah desires to see you martyred. Muhammad bin Hanafiya said, Verily, we are Allah's, and verily unto him shall we return. Then Muhammad continued, Then what is the need of taking these women along with you in such a state? He replied, The Prophet told me that Allah desires to see them in captivity. Then he greeted Muhammad and left. The question put forward by Hamza bin Humran to Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, peace be upon him, regarding Muhammad bin Hanafiya's keeping aloof and Imam's reply thereat, has already been related in another place in the section 3 discourse of Allama Majlisi in Biharul Anwar of chapter 2 in this book. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, peace be upon him, says that when Hussein bin Ali, peace be upon him, intended to go towards Iraq, he handed over his books and testimony to Salama, peace be upon her, as a trust. And when Imam Ali Zain al-Abidin, peace be upon him, returned back, Salama, peace be upon her, handed over to him. Mas'udi writes in his Isbatul Wasiyah that when Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, intended to go to Kufa, after writing a letter to the Kufans and before dispatching Muslim bin Aqil, peace be upon him, to Kufa, Salama, peace be upon her, came up to him and said, I remind you not to go there. Imam asked her the reason, to which she replied, I have heard the Prophet of Allah, peace be upon him, say that my son Hussein will be martyred in Iraq, and he handed over me a bottle filled with earth, which I have preserved with me and often inspected. Imam replied, O dear mother, I shall be compelled to die. There is no refuge from what has been decreed, and there is no other alternative for death. I myself know the day, time, and the place where I shall be martyred. Then I identify the spot of my martyrdom besides the mausoleum where I shall be buried, as I recognize you. Then, if you desire, I would show you my burial place and that of the ones to be martyred along with me. Salama replied that she desired doing so. Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, uttered the name of Allah, and the ground of Karbala arose, and he showed her the burial place of himself and others. Then he took some earth from it and told her to mix it with the former one given to her by the Prophet. Then he said, I shall be martyred on the 10th of Muharram after the Zuhr prayers. Salutations upon you, O dear mother. We are pleased with you. The devotion and love of Salama, peace be upon her, for the household, that is the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet, is apparent from the above incident. Her reverence of the true vicegerent of the Prophet and the Imam of the age is renowned, since her support of Imam Ali, peace be upon him. Abul Fida in his Tarikh says that before leaving Medina towards Basra for the battle of Jamal, Imam Ali, peace be upon him, called on Salama, one of the widows of the Prophet, and bade her farewell. Salama said to him, In the name of Allah, I deliver you into His protection. By His power and His majesty, you alone are with the truth, and all your enemies are in error. If it were not the command of Allah to the wives of His Prophet to stay at home, I would have accompanied you in this campaign. She had a son named Omar bin Abi Salama by her first marriage, whom she offered to him, saying, "He is my only child. He is all that I have in this world. I offer him to you. He will, if necessary, sacrifice his life for you." Reference Tabari, Ibn Khaldun, and Asam Kufi. The words of Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, in the above narration, that we are pleased with you, elucidates that she was one of those who had earned the pleasure of Allah and His proof, that is the Hujjah. Salama preserved the above report and awaited the 10th, that is the Ashura. Mas'udi, in his Muraj al-Zahab, writes that when Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, decided to go towards Iraq, Abdullah ibn Abbas came to his presence and said, "O cousin, I have heard that you intend going towards Iraq, while the people therein are treacherous and quarrelsome. Do not make haste, and if you desire, fight these tyrants. And if you do not wish to reside in Mecca, then go to Yemen, for it is located in a corner, and you possess numerous friends and brothers therein. Then halt there and dispatch your envoys across and write to the Kufans and your followers in Iraq, that they might depose their commanders from there. And if they succeed in deposing them, and there remains no one to quarrel with you, only then you enter therein, for I do not trust them. And if they do not do so, remain where you are and wait for Allah's command, for there are numerous forts and valleys in Yemen." Hearing this, Imam said, "O cousin, I know that genuinely you are my well wisher and are sympathetic towards me, but Muslim bin Aqil has written to me that the Kufans have sworn the oath of allegiance to me and have united to support me. Hence, I have finally decided to go there." Abdullah said, "You have tested the Kufans twice. These are the very people who had been supporting your father and brother, while tomorrow they might be among your murderers siding their commander. Then if you go towards them and Ubaidullah bin Ziyad is informed about it, he will send them to revolt against you, and the people who have written to you inviting you there will turn into your worst enemies. Then if you disapprove my words, do not take the women and children along with you, for by Allah I fear lest you might be killed as Uthman was murdered while his women and children were beholding." Imam replied to Ibn Abbas, "By Allah, I hold it dear to be killed in any other place rather than spoil the sanctity of Kaaba because of me by being murdered herein." Then Ibn Abbas lost all hope to persuade him and arose and left. Then he went to Abdullah bin Zubair and recited the following couplet: "O lark, you have got a vacant place, then lay your eggs and raise your voice. Your seat is empty, strike your beak on the ground wherever you desire." Then Hussein is going towards Iraq and is leaving behind Hijaz for you. When Abdullah ibn Zubair heard that Imam is going to Kufa, he was delighted. He was restless and aggrieved with Imam's presence in Makkah. Hence, for the people therein did not consider him equal to Imam Hussein. Hence, there was no greater news for him than that Imam was leaving Makkah. Then he came to Imam and said, "O Aba Abdullah, what have you decided? I fear Allah by not fighting against their cruelties and their disrespect towards Allah's virtuous slaves." Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, replied, "I have decided to go to Kufa." Ibn Zubair said, "May Allah grant you success. If I had friends like you, I would have refused going there." He feared lest Imam would accuse him for it and hence said, "Then if you stay back here and invite me and the people of Hijaz to swear the allegiance at your hands, we shall agree to it and will hasten towards you, for you are more worthy of the caliphate than Yazid and his father." A martyr's motivation is different from that of ordinary people. His logic is that of a devout reformer and a zealous gnostic. If the two logics, that is, the logic of an earnest reformer and the logic of a zealous Gnostic, are put together, the result becomes the motivation of a martyr. People like Abdullah ibn Abbas and Muhammad bin Hanafiya tried to dissuade him from going towards Kufa. Their argument was that his action was not logical. They were right in their own way. It was not in conformity with their logic, which was the logic of worldly wise men. But Imam had a higher logic. His logic was that of a martyr, which is beyond the comprehension of ordinary men, while theirs was based on the consideration of personal interest and political gains. From their point of view, Imam's action was not discreet and prudent at all. Abdullah ibn Abbas made a proposal which was politically very sound. It has been the usual practice of clever people to use others as their tools. They push others forward and remain behind themselves. If others succeed, they take full advantage of their success, otherwise, they lose nothing. Abu Bakr bin Haris bin Hisham came to the presence of Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, and said, "Verily, relation with you demands that I should be merciful to you, and I do not know how you consider me in terms of being your well wisher." Imam replied, "O Abu Bakr, you are not a deceiver." Abu Bakr said, "Your father was more able, and people were more desirous of him and considered him. They were more obedient and subservient to him. They rallied around him in large numbers when he marched towards Muawiyah, except the people of Syria, while he was more powerful than Muawiyah. Even then they betrayed him and became a burden upon him with their lust for the world. Then they made him swallow anger, and they disobeyed him until the matter reached such that he went towards the grandeur and the pleasure of Allah. Then they did the same to your brother as your father, and you were a witness to all of this. Yet now you desire to go towards those who had revolted against your father and brother and oppressed them. Then you like to fight along with them against the Syrians, the Iraqis, and the one who has prepared himself and is more powerful, while people fear him and wish for his success. And if he receives news that you are proceeding towards him, he might bribe them, and verily they are desirous of this world. Then those very people who have promised to assist you will be ready to fight you, and those very people who claim to love you will leave you devoid of helpers and will go to their aid. Then remember Allah in respect of yourself." Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, replied, "O cousin, may Allah reward you favorably. You have advised me sincerely, but Allah's decree shall surely occur." Abu Bakr bin Haris bin Hisham said, "O Abu Abdullah, I give you to Allah's refuge. It is written in Tarikh of Tabari that Azdi says that Abu Jabbab Yahya bin Abu Hayya relates from Adi bin Hurmala Asadi, who relates from Abdullah bin Salim and Mazri bin Mashma'il Asadi. They said that we went to Makkah from Kufa to perform the Hajj until we entered Makkah on the day of Tarwiyah, that is the 8th of Zilhajj. We saw Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, and Abdullah bin Zubair at the time of Zuhr, standing between the Kaaba and Hajar al-Aswad. We went towards them and heard Ibn Zubair telling Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, that you may reside here if you desire so and be in charge. We are your supporters, helpers, your well-wishers, and your obedient ones. Imam replied, "My father had told me that the blood of a man will be shed unjustly here, and I do not desire to be that man." Imam Ali's prediction of the murder of Abdullah bin Zubair proved accurate. Abdullah bin Zubair, after many years, took refuge in Makkah. Yazid sent an army to Makkah which laid siege to it. The Kaaba was catapulted with stones and then set on fire. Once again, Ibn Zubayr was attacked, and the Kaaba was catapulted during the reign of Abdul Malik bin Marwan's rule. Ibn Zubayr was eventually killed in Makkah by Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Here, Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, is telling Abdullah bin Zubayr of his inevitable fate. Ibn Zubayr continued, "Then halt here and leave the matter to me, for I shall obey you and will not deceive you." Imam replied, I do not desire to do so. Then they started speaking in a whisper among themselves until we heard people calling out to hasten towards Mina at the time of Zuhr. Then we saw that Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, started circumambulating the Kaaba. Then he performed the sa'i between Safa and Marwa and cut some of his hair. Then he ended his Umrah and left towards Kufa while we went to Mina with other people. Sibt ibn Jawzi in his Tazkiratul Khawas writes that when Muhammad bin Hanafiya received news of the departure of Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, towards Kufa, he was performing the ablutions, and a jar was kept in front of him. He wept profusely until the jar became full of his tears. Then there was none in Makkah who was not grieved and afflicted by his departure, for they had tried their best to dissuade him from doing so. Then he recited the following couplets: I will depart, for there is no shame in death for a young man, whenever he intends to do what is right and he strives like a Muslim who has soothed righteous men through the sacrifice of his life, who has scattered the accursed and opposed the criminals. If I live, I will not regret what I have done, and if I die, I will not suffer. Let it be enough for you to live in humiliation and be reviled. Then he recited the following verse of the Holy Quran, and the behest of Allah is a decree irrevocable. The Holy Quran, Surah Ahzab, verse 38.